Welcome. I am the FX Savant, and in today's video, we'll be doing a trade breakdown on gold. I'll be showing you how I was able to find this trade idea as well as a good 1 to 2 risk to reward position on this trade using multi-time frame analysis as well as structure the right way. If you like that, go ahead and drop me a like. It'll go a long way. It's highly appreciated. And before we get into the video, go click the link in the description. It'll be in the description. It's a link to my free Telegram signals chat. I also offer a paid VIP signals chat as well. This trade is from the paid VIP chat. This one wasn't in the free, but I send trades like this over there. So go ahead and check that out. Plus, the link in the description is free. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So we'll be taking this trade idea. This position, this trade, and I'll be showing you how I found it and how I was able to get in. On the monthly, what do we have? Found support here and was going to create an impulse up, but failed to create the impulse to the upside, creating a double top. So once price broke below this support, we're now in a bearish formation. We're now making lower lows and lower highs. And on the monthly, we have a lot of room to come down to. So we have this area in here that price probably want to come down and retrace, grab some liquidity before we do make the overall push to the upside if the market wants to do that. So on the monthly, we have a double top in formation, price moving down. So on the weekly, let's see what we have. On the weekly, we can see a lot of the same thing. We can also see that price has broken below this structure here, and we're coming back to retest it. So once price breaks below structure, or breaks below support, it's then turned resistance. If price breaks above resistance, it's then turned support. Usually, not always, it's not a fact, but that's how the market usually works. Once support has been established and then broken to the downside, it'll usually get retested as support or as resistance, excuse me. Same thing to the opposite side. If price breaks a resistance level and if it comes back to retest that level, it'll usually use that level as support and continue moving upwards. So we had a break below this level, this structure level. We're making lower lows and lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, all the way down. Broke below this structure level, came back to retest it. And that's on the weekly. On the daily, what can we see? We can see that this is our zone that we just drew out from the weekly. So on the daily, what can we see? Well, I see price is creating an overextended W formation, So we have the move down, the move back up, the move back down, the move back up. And usually if price does this, what you want to see is price come back down to retest the left shoulder or come retest the neckline. What you want to see after an overextended W formation, which usually comes with an inverted head and shoulders, some type of form. Usually either want to see it come back and retest the right shoulder or come retest the left shoulder, or in most cases the neckline of the overextended W formation. Same thing for an M formation or double top. You usually want to see the market come back and retest, complete the formation at the neckline. So if you have an M formation, price breaks below double top, whatever, you want to see the market come back to the neckline and complete the pattern. Same thing for a double bottom or W formation. If price is strong enough to break structure levels and come back and retest the starting point of this, usually we have enough power to continue and going up higher. But price can't move in one direction forever, so we have to impulse and correct. So if we were able to impulse up to this starting point, up to this resistance breaking structure level from this W formation, then more likely we want to continue moving price up higher. So what we'll do is come back and retest, come back to the neckline. Maybe there might be something like that in there. Come back, retest this left shoulder, neckline, whatever it is, and then create an impulse to the upside. Come back, retest the neckline as well, breaking structure, moving up, creating higher highs and higher lows. So that's what we have so far on the daily. Let's drop down to the 4 hour and you can kind of see the illustration a little better here. So if this is where we left off, you can see we have an inverted head and shoulders where price came down, came back up. Now this is kind of a complex correction, but we came down, we retest the resistance, and then after that we came and retest the left shoulder, then create higher highs. Now this is just on the 4 hour. On the daily, there was a bigger overall inverted head and shoulders pattern that we had, which started from out here. So you see price came down, created a level here, came back up here, broke below that level, all this, and now is currently on its way up. If price makes it up to this structure level, we want to see it retrace before it continues up higher, because this would be the resistance, previous resistance, now turn resistance again. We want to see it act as resistance, come back, grab some liquidity, come retest the neckline at this area that we have on this overextended W formation, inverted head and shoulders, whatever you like. Concept is still the same. We want to see market come back and retest this area at the neckline. So once price makes it up to here, if it does make it up to here and starts to reject, we want to see price start making its way down, and that's where we can act and enter in for a trade to the downside. So let's play it forward, and price is starting to create higher highs and higher lows. Still impulse up, create a higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher low, higher high. But we still have this structure level here that we would like to see price test and react to first before we even think about getting into the trade. Play it one more on the 4 hour. Okay, price test the area, test our resistance area of this overextended W formation or inverted head and shoulders. It tested the neckline up here. Let me run that back. Played it forward. Okay, so price has just tested our resistance area. So it's confirming our bias of what we want to see. We want to see price now come down to at least the neckline to grab some liquidity before it makes its move back up to the upside. So let's drop down to the 1 hour. And what can we see? Perfectly. Let's get rid of some of this. Okay, so perfect. So on the 1 hour, what can we see? On the 1 hour, we can see structure here. So price came up. This was resistance, acted as resistance. Price respected it, then broke through. Once it broke through, closed above, broke and closed above the resistance. It then came down, retested it as support, and used it as support. It acted as support. And since then, price has now broken this structure, broke and closed below this structure. So what we have and what we're starting to form, which is the exact opposite of what we saw on the higher time frames. We saw inverted head and shoulders, and we saw W formations. Now on the lower time frames, we're starting to see regular head and shoulders and M formations. So like we said, if price has enough energy to come down and retest these lows, we want to see it come back and retest what would be the left shoulder and have that act as resistance once again, and then continue breaking structure down. So let's drop down to the 15-minute so we can get a better illustration of what's going on. And that's exactly the concept we have here. So let's play it forward. And as you can see that this is the level of structure that we pointed out. This is our left shoulder. This is our resistance. Now we want to act as resistance once again before we see price moving down, because then we still haven't broken this low. So we're still making higher lows if price continues its way it's going on. So it can easily continue up to the upside. We want to see a break structure. And not only that, that gives us an area to put our stop loss above, which is protection, added protection. So what we see, price is now testing this area. It's having a hard time breaking above this area. We're not in the trade yet. We haven't even thought about getting the trade yet. The signal hasn't even been sent out. So until we break below this area, until we break below the lows, we continue structure to the downside, creating lower lows and lower highs on a 15-minute time frame. We don't want to enter into the trade. And if price breaks above this structure, this left shoulder, then we do not want to enter in for a short, because then price is starting to break structure to the upside, higher highs and higher lows. So let's play it forward. Price is starting to break. Retest one more time. Okay, so price broke below this structure. Barely, but just. That's one thing I wish I've known when I first started out, what an actual break and close below is. So this is the structure level that we have identified. And price has closed below that structure. It broke below it, and not only did it break below it, but at the end of this candle, it closed below the structure level. So now we have our bias confirmed that we want to see lower lows and lower highs on this market all the way down to the neckline of the daily time frame that we saw. So we were on the monthly, we saw we wanted to push down, didn't have an exact area where. On the weekly, we saw that price broke below structure just exactly like this that we're seeing on the 15-minute time frame. Price showed something similar to this on the weekly. Price broke below structure, it came back, wanted to see a retest of that structure, and then continue downward, just the way the market works. Once support is broken, it's then retested and acting as resistance. Not all the time, but generally in speaking. Same thing for resistance. Once that's broke, it's usually retested and acting as support. Not all the time, but generally speaking. That's just the concept that we have going on here. So now that we have price broken and closed below this structure, now we can start looking for an entry. Where did we enter? We entered on the most recent break and close. We entered on the most recent structure that we would like to see price come and retest before we get rejected and continuation to the downside. That is why we entered here. Really, the signal was at 1735. That's just the spot that I was able to enter in because I entered it a little late. I was clicking some things on my phone and wouldn't let me enter. But I got in here. Really, all this area is where we want to get in. It doesn't really matter because this is our structure area. We've broken and closed below this area. So if price comes and retests, it has to break 1, 2, 3 levels of structure and then continue going higher before a seller finds a good price and hit our stop loss. That's why our stops go above the high. They have to go above the high. Same as if it was for us a buy position, the stops have to go below the low because of the way the structure works. Higher highs, higher lows. Higher highs, higher lows. Lower highs, lower lows. Lower highs, lower lows. You want to put it above the high when you're selling because if price breaks structure, then you no longer want to be in the trade anyway. No matter what happens, you don't want to be, your idea was wrong. Price is breaking structure to the upside, and then vice versa for a buy position. If you put your stop loss below the structure and price breaks below the structure and stops you out, be thankful because you don't want to be in that trade anymore. The market has proved your idea to be wrong. So with that being said, I know that was a lot. We want to enter in on price at this area. What did price do? Triggered our entry. Let me zoom out a little bit. Now that we're entered on the 15-minute, you can kind of see. Perfect. Zoom out. And our target is at the neckline. So as you can see, we targeted the neckline. We had all this area, really could have went here, but we wouldn't have had a favorable risk to reward if we went for this area right here. Plus we knew if price reached this area, this structure area, and came, we would have already been risk-free, or I know that I'm already going to be risk-free on that trade. So if it does not make it down to this structure area, then that's okay. It'll come back. We'll try again another time. But price started to break on the 1 hour. We'll just play it through. This was overnight, was sleeping. Okay, boom, bada bing. We wake up, TP hit. So that's really it. That's all I wanted to say. Show you how you can find a trade idea using multi-time frame analysis and using structure the right way. And you can make an easy, and you can make 2R on trades. You can find these trades all over the market. But go in the link, click that link for the free Telegram Signals chat. Drop your boy a like, comment. Happy trading, and I'll see you in the next one.